So where does Agile come from, and what is it based on? Well, in February of 2001, a group of 17 independent software practitioners came together and authored what is called the Agile Manifesto. The Agile Manifesto was born out of a need for a software development methodology that was driven by the features and end product, rather than being driven by traditional project management methods that focused more on the project management process itself and less on the final product. The Agile Manifesto is comprised of 4 values and 12 principles. The Agile Manifesto contains 4 values, which are further broken down into 2 sets, primary values and secondary values. Essentially, all of the values contribute to the success of your project, but the primary values are the values that contribute most to successful projects and are valued over the secondary values. So the first Agile value says that we value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Sometimes in our corporate environments or in team environments, we value certain processes and working with certain tools more than we value the individuals and interactions that create success. What that means is if we have a tool, for example, that we're using that costs us a lot of overhead, we should be thinking twice about using that tool. We should be thinking more about how do we foster more communication? How do we foster more collaboration? And if there's a process that ultimately seems wasteful and doesn't really create a lot of optimization in people being creative or doing their best work, then we should rethink that process and focus more on having individuals interact in ways that bring out the best ideas. The second Agile value says that we value working software over comprehensive documentation. What this means is working software really should be our measure of progress. The ability to start a project and quickly prototype something or come up with something that works is a lot more valuable than working for weeks and weeks, and in some cases months, on documenting everything very comprehensively, especially for software development projects, since there's a lot of change to the final product across the life of the project. The third value is that we value customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So if you've worked in an environment where you have a defined project plan, it sometimes becomes a big pain to actually have your stakeholders request a change. That change becomes a big contract negotiation, a change request goes in, and then you have to identify whether the change is worth it. In an Agile environment, it's understood that change is constant. Change is going to happen. And so the focus should be on collaboration with the customer to make sure that we understand the impact of the change, the need for the change, and the value that comes out of the change, instead of trying to negotiate whether or not to make changes. The fourth and final Agile value is that we value responding to change over following a plan. This one is pretty self-explanatory. We need to be able to respond to change and have a system that allows us to do so dynamically, versus following a linear defined plan where we try to define everything up front, which is typically going to change over the course and lifetime of a project anyway, particularly in a software development project. In addition to the 4 Agile values outlined in the Agile Manifesto, there are 12 principles. These principles should drive all work on your project. The first 6 principles are satisfy the customer, welcome change, deliver software frequently, work together, motivate individuals, and use face-to-face communication. It is important to satisfy the customer. The highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. It's also essential to welcome change, even late in development. Agile processes harness changes for the customer's competitive advantage. It's also important to deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. And working together is vital. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Motivating individuals is also key to your project's success. It's important to build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. And face-to-face communication is the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team. particularly when timescales and development require the quick transfer of information. The remaining 6 principles are that working software equals progress, constant pace, technical excellence, simplicity, self-organizing teams, and reflection. This means that working functionalities in the product are your signs of progress along the project timeline, not the succession of project phases in a spreadsheet. Constant pace is also needed. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, development team, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. In addition, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Simplicity is key. Keeping it simple is an art. Sometimes we tend to think that the more features we build or the more complexity we build into our features, the better, when actually the best products are the simplest ones that have all the features and function the customer wants but remain uncomplicated. In addition, the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. And finally, the principle of reflection brings success and carries it through future work. At regular intervals, the team should reflect on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts working behaviors and procedures accordingly. In summary, the Agile Manifesto outlines 4 values that should be kept in mind for project management. The values are: value individuals and interactions over processes and tools, value working software over comprehensive documentation, value customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and value responding to change over following a plan. The Agile Manifesto also outlines 12 principles that should guide your project. They are: satisfy the customer, welcome change, deliver software frequently, work together, motivate individuals, use face-to-face communication. Working software equals progress, constant pace, technical excellence, simplicity, self-organizing teams, and reflection.